Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently inked this week, so I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right is the Onoto and this is the Magna Carta. We have a Visconti Camelot, a Visconti Last Templar Jacques de Molay, a Visconti Medici Il Magnifico in the black marble, a Visconti Medici Il Magnifico, and this is in the Lapis Lazuli. We have a Visconti Leonardo da Vinci Machina, a Visconti St Basil, a Visconti Speakeasy, a Visconti Chatterley Luxuries Southwest, and we have a Danitrio Bamboo Story. So I think let's go through these pens in a little bit more detail. Now, more recently, and this was around the London Pen Show in October this year, 2021, I decided I was changing jobs and I decided I wanted a pen that would give me, it would be a significant milestone because I am changing job, but also something that was a little bit more significant to signing contracts, for instance. So I had seen a number of Onotos that I liked, but there was this one called the Magna Carta. And I thought that this would be a fitting tribute to changing jobs. And I decided to talk to Onoto and see if I could secure one. And I was able to, and I picked it up at the London Pen Show. So this is the Onoto Magna Carta. And you will see here that it does have the Magna Carta, or parts of it, not the whole Magna Carta, inscribed onto that body. It's a beautiful pen made of sterling silver, and this is AG 925. Now, in terms of the limited edition run, this is 88 pens, and this is number 15. So this is a beautiful pen. It is solid silver. It does have what Onoto call their number 7 size nib, which really is very similar to a number 6 size nib, but I would say it is slightly wider. Normally the size of the nib is measured really around the nib here as it goes into the section. But this is a beautiful pen. It is a cartridge converter pen, so I can unscrew that and you can see that here. I do have this inked up and I am writing with it. But you can see here it's got a lovely crest there as well. It's a beautiful pen. It's not a lightweight pen, but it's a pen that I am loving writing with. So this is a new pen added to my collection later on this year. So I have that one inked up with me this week. I also have the Visconti Camelot, which is a pen that I do love a lot. I've not typically written with it a lot lately, but this is, again, a beautiful pen. And it's a beautiful silver sort of overlay here. And you have this like sort of chain link armor going on there. But also you have this like herringbone effect that's going on that you can see there. Absolutely stunning pen, and it's a pen that I love a lot. And you don't see many of these around now. It's the old style 18 karat gold. It's a medium nib. It writes beautifully. It's a really lovely pen. Now the cap won't post, unfortunately, but I'm not a cap poster. The section is very long, and it does get a bit long and a bit tapered. I tend to hold it around the threads, but I find that it's a very, very comfortable pen to write with. So I have that one inked up with me this week. The next pen here is the Visconti, and this is the Last Templar Jacques de Molay. Now, I've not featured this for, I think, a little while in my currently inked pens, but this is a beautiful pen, so I have this inked up this week as well. So it is a pen, it's an overlay, and it is a Templar, or Last Templar pen. It has this beautiful, beautiful chainmail, similar to the chainmail that is on the Camelot, but not. It's done very differently. And then you have this overlay with the cross, and this really, it says here, Jacques de Molay. This really is a beautiful, beautiful pen. It's not as heavy as the Onoto. It does have a big step down, but that doesn't bother me. It's a really, really nice pen. This does have a 23 cat palladium medium nib on it, and I like it. I like this pen a lot, and it was a birthday pen for me one year. So I like that pen, and I decided I would ink it back up again. And there's actually going to be something similar between these first four pens, and I'll show you that in a little bit. So the next pen here is the Visconti Medici Il Magnifico, and this is in the black marble, and this is a beautiful pen. I really do like this a lot. It has the Visconti V logo there. It's a magnet, and you can actually, this one you can rotate easily. It's got the hook safe. It's a power vac filler, and you've got the hook safe lock there. And this has the newer 18 karat gold nib from Visconti. I really do like these pens a lot. You can post the cap. I don't. These pens are beautiful. They are heavy as well. A little bit lighter than the Onoto, I would say, but these pens are really, really nice. I like longer pens. I like more girthy pens and more heavier pens. So although these are not long pens, they are more girthier and they are more weighty. So I do like writing with those. The next pen here is, again, another Visconti, a Medici Il Magnifico. And this is in the blue Lapis Lazuli. And you can see here again that filigree work there. You've got the fleur de lis, and you have again the Visconti logo. And you can see here this beautiful blue lapis. It really is a nice pen, and again, it's got an 18 karat gold medium nib there. It's again the new Visconti 18 karat gold nibs, but I like them. I do like these newer nibs. I am finding a little bit of inconsistency though between some of the nibs, just like the older 23 karat palladium nibs, just like the older 18 karat gold nibs. These are all essentially Bock nibs, although the newer nibs are made by advisory from Bock, as I understand it, with Visconti in-house. But still, it is difficult to get a consistency with nibs. If you do get a consistency in terms of line variation, in terms of flow, in terms of how bouncy the nib is, then you are doing massively well as a nib manufacturer. I think they all struggle with that, unfortunately, in one way or another. The next pen I have inked up is this one, and this is the Visconti, and it's a Leonardo da Vinci Machina, and it's a scrimshaw pen, so you can see all of this writing on that pen. So a little bit similar to the Onoto Magna Carta in that sense, that you do have writing there, but it's filled in with like an ink, a colour, a dye. You can fill this like you can fill this on the Onoto as well. But this is a beautiful pen, and it has the aqua silk brown material, which is, I believe, a material that Visconti have patented, but I don't think they make it themselves. So I think you can get that from other manufacturers. I may be wrong, but it's beautiful, beautiful material. And I have here the newer 18 karat gold nib here, and it's a medium nib. But I do get a little bit of brown sort of nib creep going on there and drying. But this is inked up with a brown ink. It's a power vac. It's a single reservoir, same as these Medici Il Magnificos. This also is a single vac. That's a single vac as well. It's not a double vac or double reservoir, I should say. But this is a beautiful pen, and I like writing with it, so I've got that inked up this week. And then this pen is a pen that I really lusted after for about a year, a number of years ago, and it was way, 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 way too expensive. And I know we've all been there. We we think a pen is way too expensive, and then later on, hey, we're in that price bracket now. So, not quite the same for me here. It has a red ruby on the cap finial. I got this for a very good price. It was discounted heavily, so that was part of the reason why I went for it. But I I decided that I would get this fountain pen and also a rollerball as the set. So it cost me a little bit more than I wanted to pay, but it was worth it, I think, because this St Basil is a beautiful, beautiful inlay there into that pen. And it has the same material as the Speakeasy that I'll show you in a moment, that you'll see a little bit more of in terms of the material. It's a celluloid material, and this one you'll see there, it's got a lot of red on the red ink on the nib. Just wipe that away a little bit, so that's a little bit better there. It's got a 23 cat palladium medium nib there. Now I am almost out of ink. You can see there that it really, really is getting low. So I will be re-inking that because I want to write with this pen more. Now, I had decided not to buy that pen at one point because it was way too expensive. And I decided to buy this one instead. And it was the Visconti Speakeasy. And I love the celluloid. I love it a lot. It is celluloid. It's not a resin. It's a beautiful, beautiful material. Lots of blues, reds, blacks, and beautiful material. Now I do actually have a red gem on there as well. I put that on there. It just had the normal Visconti cap finial. Now the Speakeasy is an interesting pen that you can actually, because it's called the Speakeasy, you can actually dial in what kind of drink that you like. So you can see there what kind of drink that is in that pen now, or would be in that pen. Now, what you do is you unscrew the back end of the cap here, unscrew this compartment, and you can actually store alcohol in here. And it will store up to 6 milliliters of alcohol. Now, I probably could put ink in there, but I think it would be pretty useless to put ink in there. Now, the reason I love this pen a lot, but it is a love-hate relationship because the filling mechanism is basically a small cartridge. You can't get anything more than a small cartridge in. So I managed to get a Kaweco squeeze converter on this one. So I'm going to re-ink this one back up because I have actually flushed it out, and I'm going to put a different ink in there this time round. So this also has a 23 cat palladium medium nib on here, and it's a bouncy nib, and I like how this nib writes. So that one will be inked up this week as well. But you can see a lot more of the celluloid on this version compared to the St Basil. Equally, though, the St Basil is very beautiful as well, with that gold inlay on the pen. And then in I believe it was 2020. It was towards the end of 2020. Brian at Chatterley Luxuries brought out this Southwest, and I decided I just had to have it. Again, the same celluloid as the Speakeasy, as also the St Basil, but in essentially what would be a Visconti Homo sapiens size pen. It is a single reservoir. It's not a double reservoir, but I love this a lot. And if I take the cap off there, you'll see it has the new 18 karat gold nib there from Visconti. It's the in-house nib. It's a hook safe lock mechanism. You've got this Southwest skyline there on the band on the base of the body. It's number 20 of 28. It's a beautiful pen, and I love writing with this. So this one is inked up with me this week as well. And again, these 3 pens actually share something in common, just like these 4 pens, and you'll see that in a moment. And then the last pen is this really massive pen. It's very girthy and likewise very long. It is a Urushi pen, and it's made by Danitrio, and it's the Danitrio Bamboo Story, and I do love this pen a lot. It's a beautiful pen, and it is an eyedropper, but look at this nib. This is what they call the Danitrio Fireball nib, and this is a fine nib. A lot of the Danitrios do have fine nibs on them. Certainly their Urushi coloured pens do. But this is beautiful. So this was a pen that I picked up a number of years ago at the London Pen Show. I just saw it there sitting on John Twiss's table. And I barged in with a few friends that were there looking to buy another couple of pens. And I asked him how much. And I very quickly ended up paying for it because I didn't want anybody else to buy this pen. Yes, maybe a little bit selfish, but when you see a pen and there's only one there and you've got to have that pen, then you'll do anything to get that pen almost. So yes, this is a lovely pen. It is an eyedropper pen. So it's an ebonite pen, and it's all of this body is filled up with ink. So you unscrew the section from the body here. So I have that one inked up with me this week as well. And you'll see here it has the artist signature there as well. So that's my currently inked pens for this week. I think let's now go and do a writing sample. So the first pen is the Onoto Magna Carta. So I think let's do an ink swatch first. And this is a fine nib. It's an 18 karat gold nib, but you can see here, this is quite fine. So I decided I would probably get a fine nib because I've been writing more with fine nibs lately. I was toying on the idea of a medium, but when I tried this fine nib, I liked how it wrote, so I decided I would go for it. So this is the Onoto, and it's the Magna Carta. And it is a fine, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. And the ink in here today is Diamine Earl Grey. Now, if you remember, I did say that the first 4 pens had something in common, and they all have the same ink. So we'll see how each pen writes and how that colour of ink dries. So the next pen is the Visconti Camelot. So let's do an ink swatch. And you'll see here that this is quite a, again, nice writing pen. So this is the Visconti Camelot. And this is a medium, and it is the older 18 karat gold nib from Visconti. It's a bulk nib. And then the ink in here is, again, Diamine Earl Grey. But you can see there already that this is a lot more of a darker grey in the writing sample. The next pen is the Visconti Last Templar Jacques de Molay. So I think we'll do a writing sample here. And this one I find has quite a bit of shading on it, this nib. So this is the Visconti, and it's the Last Templar Jacques de Molay, and it's a medium 23 karat palladium nib. And then the ink in here again is Diamine Earl Grey. But I find that that one has a little bit more shading than the Camelot version. The next pen is the Visconti, and this is the Medici Il Magnifico in the black marble. And again, this is the final one that is inked up with Diamine Earl Grey, and strangely, I find this is a little bit more on the black side, because this is a very wet writing nib. So this is the Visconti, and it's the Medici Il Magnifico, and it's a medium, and it's the newer style 18 karat gold in-house nib from Visconti, and then the ink in here is Diamine Earl Grey. But as you can see, that is a lot more darker. So it is interesting to see how the same ink actually appears in 4 different pens. So you have quite a dark ink here, you have a lighter still, and an even darker than the Onoto. The next pen is the Visconti Medici Il Magnifico in the Lapis Lazuli. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is a beautiful, beautiful ink that I have in here. So this is the Visconti Medici or Medici Il Magnifico, and it's the Lapis Lazuli, and it's a medium, and it's also the newer 18 karat gold nib, in-house nib from Visconti. And then the ink in here is Pilot Oroshizuku, and it's Aji Sei, which is a beautiful lavender colour ink. The next pen is the Visconti Leonardo da Vinci Machina. So let's do an ink swatch. And this is a medium nib as well. And this is the newer 18 karat gold nib as well. But you'll see that this is a lot finer than this one. So this is the Visconti Leonardo da Vinci Machina, and it's spelled that way. Ooh, that way, like so. And then it's a medium, and it's the newer 18 karat gold nib, in-house nib, but you can see the difference in terms of the nib width. And then the ink in here is Akamon SBRE brown, which is for me a beautiful brown ink. I think matches that pen a lot. The next pen is the Visconti St Basil. So again, let's do an ink swatch. Now this is getting low, so I'm gonna have to refill this pen, but this is a beautiful bouncy 23 karat palladium nib that I have on this nib. On this pen, I should say, not nib. So this is the Visconti St Basil, and it's a medium 23 karat palladium nib. And then the ink in here is Mont Blanc, and it's Corn Poppy Red. And I just want to say, I still have 5 bottles of it. I do need to get through this. So I did say that the next 3 pens would also have something in common. They all have the same ink as well. The next pen is the Visconti Speakeasy ink swatch here, and you can see here that this is a very wet, very bouncy nib. So this is the Visconti Speakeasy. And it's a medium 23 cat palladium nib. And then the ink in here again is Mont Blanc, Corn Poppy Red. And the next pen is the Visconti Chatterley Luxuries Southwest. And again, this has the same colour ink. And this is getting low, so I will probably need to re-ink this one as well, or maybe clean it out. Let's see. So this is the Visconti. It's the Chatterley Luxuries Southwest. And it's a medium, and it's the newer 18 karat gold in-house nib from Visconti. And then the ink in here again is Mont Blanc, Corn Poppy Red. And I have had a few people ask me if I wanted to sell a bottle or two, and the answer is absolutely not. Because this is an ink that has now gone out of production, and it's an ink that I now have 5 bottles of, and it's an ink that I like. So, unfortunately, no. The next pen, and the final pen, is the Danitrio Bamboo Story. So, let's do an ink swatch. And you'll see here, this is a fine nib, and it's also running low as well. So, I probably actually need to unscrew the back of the pen, because that will allow the ink to flow a little bit more. So this is the Danitrio, and it is the Bamboo Story. And this is a fine, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. It's a Bock nib as well. And then the ink in here is Diamine, and it's Poppy Red. But that is a beautiful red ink. And again, it's another one of those inks that I do like quite a lot as well. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. So we have an Onoto Magna Carta in a fine 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. We have a Visconti Camelot in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. We have a Visconti Last Templar Jacques de Molay in a medium 23 karat palladium nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. We have a Visconti Medici Il Magnifico in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. And you can see the difference in these 4 shades between all of the Earl Grey colour inks. We then have a Visconti Medici Il Magnifico in the Lapis Lazuli in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Pilot Iroshizuku Ajise. We have a Visconti Leonardo da Vinci Machina in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Akerman SBRE Brown. We have a Visconti St Basil in a medium 23 karat palladium nib inked up with Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. We have a Visconti Speakeasy in a medium 23 karat palladium nib inked up with Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. And again, you can see the difference between these two. We then have a Visconti Chatterley Luxuries Southwest in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Mont Blanc Corn Poppy Red. And again, you have a very bright red, almost a crimson colour, and almost, I'd say, a Bordeaux colour there. So again, it's different on how each nib writes. And then we have a Danitrio Bamboo Story in a fine 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Poppy Red. So there you have it. That's my currently inked pens for this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.